Good morning, everyone. We're back as promised Friday morning, kicking off the Friday edition of the Winter Wonderland. We have the one and only Dr. Ashley Rozzi, and she is our resident naturopathic physician, Zyto specialist extraordinaire, and weight loss, good food, diet, hormones, emotions, you name it, she covers the whole gamut. Don't you, Ashley?
I do. Thank you.
And do you do it just for women or for men too?
For both.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
I have
Because
probably
we need it too.
exactly, and I probably have equal amount of men to women clients. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, you're part of the team. We wanted you on here. In fact, we're going to get you on here twice next time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know, it's always about food. So it's like, are you in the mood for food?
Always about food, right. So your topic today is the timing perfect, right?
Yeah.
How do you enjoy the holidays without ruining your plan, your diet, your program, and still enjoy it? And what does it come down to, really? Choices, ingredients, what?
It does. And the holidays obviously are more than just 2 days. We have all the events in between where cocktails and meeting friends out, coming in from out of town, family. I mean, prepping the food.
We were at one of those last night.
Yeah, exactly. So it can be very easy to fall off the wagon. And then before you know it, it's a month of bad eating. And then it's really hard to get back on track. Right. So one of the greatest things, and it's so simple to do, is to make sure you have enough water. Really staying hydrated, because we get so busy, especially this time of year, that we are not drinking enough water, we're running. So that's really important to keep the bowels moving and everything healthy.
Right.
So drinking enough water is something that we can do easy. You know, it's something that you don't think about.
And balance off the coffee like you and I did.
I know.
We love our coffee.
So I have a little trick for how to get enough water in. So when you're getting ready in the morning, put your water in the bathroom with you while you're getting ready. Drink it, and so you can get it in before you leave the house.
See, that's obviously directed more to women that
Yeah.
spend a lot of time in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Getting ready in the morning, right?
Great. Well, we're in there, so might as well. I have a water to coffee in there. So.
Okay. Balance. It's always about balance.
It is.
Okay.
It is. You got to stay dehydrate, then hydrate.
Yeah.
So water is really important. And another thing is be more active, right? During this time, don't let workouts wane. Even if you get out and walk, walking is so amazing for the body. And you could go and just do a walk for 20, 30 minutes and feel really good. About 30 minutes is when you start getting into fat burning mode. So just staying active through that time, not letting life become so busy that you don't take care of your health.
Now, this doesn't have to be a power walk, right? I mean, I know Jamie always says, walk like you're late for a meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the kind of pace you want to keep.
Yeah,
right?
I think that is the best way, and you get the heart rate up just enough, but you feel good. It's really good mentally to just decompress that way. And always what I say is, when you don't have the parties and you're not going, eat really clean on those days. And that will help you stay on track. Plus, you won't, if you eat clean for so long, you start to change your taste buds. You start to change what kind of food you crave, what you want. You start to notice the difference in how you feel more energy to feeling lethargic and more fatigued. So I recommend eating clean. And then you really, by the time Christmas comes, you'll eat the foods that you wait all year for, which is totally fine, but you're not going to overdo it, because you've kind of changed what you like. You've changed what you're craving.
And I think another thing that what happens is you get all these like leftovers, especially the cookie trays, right?
Ooh, yeah.
And they say, take it home. So then you take it home. So on the off days, you still have it there.
Yeah.
And that's the bad part.
That's about get rid of those. I don't have a good, unless you make Holly's cookies.
Well, that's right. And tomorrow, right? You guys are going to?
We're going to do a no-bake Christmas sugar cookie, a healthy Christmas sugar cookie. So that should be really fun. And I'm going to be Holly's sidekick, because she's truly the magic in the baking.
Oh, that's good.
Her treats are very good.
When are we doing that tomorrow?
Tomorrow at noon, I believe.
Okay. Great. That's our workshop for tomorrow. Our roundtable workshop for tomorrow is Ashley and Holly. Now, you guys already did one video a while back,
We
right?
did. We
Yeah,
talked about it.
but
Yeah.
you didn't do it. So now we're going to do it.
So this will be the first time we do the sugar cookie. So it should be interesting and fun.
That's brave. Try a new recipe first time on camera.
Well, it's funny because I said to Holly, I said, "Oh, I'm intimidated. There's so many ingredients." She's like, "This is easy," but because she's a professional.
Yeah, just let her handle that part of it. And,
right.
Yeah, and you do the talking.
Yeah, exactly. I'll do the tasting and talking.
Tasting and talking. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be jumping in there, and we're not gonna, let you up here by yourself when you have
right. You'll have to try them.
Yeah, that's got to participate.
Absolutely. So those are good ways to stay on track, though, is having like a healthy treat. And that's something I do at home is, so if I go to a party and there's a lot of cookies, and I don't really want them, and there's nothing wrong with having a few, but I don't want that feeling, that heaviness in my gut, just feeling really tired and drained. I want to enjoy the time. But I still will want them, but having some healthy treats at home or bringing them with you to the party for everybody else to try, then you can feel like you're part of it, you're socializing, but you still aren't sabotaging your diet.
And I think that, this substituting of these healthy cookies and in less, of the actual granulated sugar, the refined sugar, I know Holly doesn't use a lot of that at all.
Right.
But, when you start eating that way, I have found that if I eat something that's a normal commercial cookie after that, it actually makes my teeth hurt. It's so sweet.
Yeah, it doesn't even taste as good.
No.
And you're right, because you've changed what your body likes.
Right.
And this is something, if you've seen me talk, I'm going to talk about this always, but it always comes back to the bacteria in the gut, right? So when we eat things that are high in sugar, processed, we feed the bad bacteria in the gut. And once you have more of those guys compared to the good guys, your body, they want to live, right? They want to survive. So you start craving, you think you're craving, but it's really the bacteria in your gut that's craving.
That's a great point. Okay, because many people, I think most people don't realize where that's originating.
They think they're craving.
Yeah, it's up here.
But
right?
it's really
in the gut.
And your gut bacteria regulates your prefrontal cortex. So that's the mood part. Do you ever notice sometimes you'll eat something and you'll feel almost like you're drugged and just feel like lethargic and just like, I can't think, I can't focus. There's a lot going on there. It's not just, it's definitely an effect.
It's a biochemical effect.
Exactly.
Right? It's not just, people say, oh, it's just in my head. Well, it is, but it's an actual chemical reaction.
Right.
Okay,
yep.
good.
So if you start eating clean and healthy and you're promoting more of the good gut bacteria, you're going to crave more of those foods because that bacteria wants to live and thrive.
Right.
So you find that you don't really like it, or you can have one and feel completely satisfied of something that's overly sweet. But one of the great things is having a game plan, right? When you're done after the holidays, how to jump right on. So there's been times where I've jumped right into a juice fast for a few days just to cleanse and detox. I'm not recommending that anybody has to do that, but that was something I wanted to do personally just to feel better and felt really good going into New Year's. It was just something I just wanted the mental clarity. But what you can do is have a game plan, right? So have foods already pre-made, put in the fridge, so you're not going to let them go to waste. You can jump right back on. But in another thing, if you have eaten bad for a few days or a few weeks and the gut's taken a hit, so what we got to do is we got to heal that gut, which the gut can heal very quickly. So we have to heal it so you can start absorbing nutrients. So I say focus on getting a lot of nutrients in. I love GI Complete for that, as just to jump right back on a quick detox.
Yeah.
GI Complete, and then we get the gut healed, and then let's go into a detox, and that's where the weight loss starts coming off, and that's where Power Cleanse and and the Live Complete's amazing. That's a great combo.
The whole thing that I'm getting from this is have a plan. And see, that's where you come in, right? That's where when you sit down with somebody for an hour, that's what you cover. You don't just, take a test, give them the results. You put together a plan for them, right? So that they don't have to guess. that they don't have to say, what do I do next?
Yeah, and that's so important because, and if you look at it like this, right? Like, first we're going to remove all what's not working for your body. It might be healthy, but maybe it's not healthy for you at this time because our bodies are always changing. So first we're going to remove the foods that are causing issues, inflammation, weight gain, and whatever else somebody might, any other symptoms that somebody doesn't want. We're going to remove those foods. Then we're going to replace them. We're going to replace them with really good foods that's going to help the body heal and give you the results that you want. And then we have to re-inoculate, right? We have to promote those good guys, the good gut bacteria. And that's going to be with really healthy foods. It's going to be with a really good pre and probiotic. You know, I love the Superbiotic. I love the Frontier Biotics. Those are great. And then you want to replace, right? You want to.
Yeah, see, and that's another great point. Most people, when they think weight loss, they think deprivation. I'm going to have to deprive myself. I can't have this. I can't. Right? But you're not saying it. You're saying replace. So there's never a deprivation. There's always food and it's satisfying.
Yes. And actually and we'll just talk weight loss because it's the holidays. We're going into New Year's and this is when, you know, people want to jump back on. But one thing to lose weight, you have to feed that metabolism. So starving is only going to cause you more harm and set you back behind the line. But if you're constantly feeding the body in the right combinations and nutrient timing, then you create thermogenesis.
Oh, talk about, all right, nutrient timing here. You threw a term out there that a lot of people are not going to know what that means. So what does that mean?
So giving your body the right foods at the right time to make your body function at optimal, right?
Okay.
For example, weight loss.
Examples. So what is an example of nutrient timing?
So in the mornings, I love, especially for women, actually, we thrive with protein and fat in the mornings. That's really good. It helps balance our sodium potassium ratios. It's just great to have more protein and fat in the morning. And then time it later where you're going to have for weight loss, a lean protein, a little bit of fat, and a complex carbohydrate. But you have to have just the right ratio of it to give you the results you want to have. And everybody's a little bit different because of body weight and activity, but it's basically.
So what I didn't hear you say sugar in there.
No sugar.
No sugar in the morning. Right?
But you could use things like Swerve, which is erythritol, or I love Swerve. Now, have you tried Swerve?
I've tried it in Holly's cookies, yes.
And how do you feel it compares to sugar?
It wasn't too sweet. My teeth didn't hurt.
Yeah.
You know, from all the sweetness. But no, it was fine. The taste was good. There was no aftertaste. Right. Like with some of them, some people say with stevia, they get an aftertaste, you know. But no, with this, it was fine. It was, you didn't miss anything and you didn't crave anything afterwards.
No, it's very satisfying.
Yeah.
And what's great about Swerve or erythritol, I tend to like the Swerve one.
You can get that in any supermarket?
You can. Right? Walmart, Giant Eagle, Whole Foods, they all have them. Amazon. But it measures. So if it calls for 1 cup of sugar in a recipe, you can do 1 cup of Swerve.
So it's an equal 1-to-1 ratio.
It is. Okay. Yes. Where other sweeteners do not. You have to figure the conversions.
Right.
Same with, that's why I like cassava flour because it's the same 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah. You turned us on to cassava flour. It's great.
Isn't it wonderful?
Oh my God.
Do you know it's a prebiotic too?
No, I didn't know that either.
Because it's a resistant.
So this is a flour substitute. It's not a substitute. It's a different type of flour.
Yeah, it's from the yucca. So it's a root vegetable. And it is wonderful.
Yeah, because see, a lot of times people will substitute for wheat. They'll substitute rice flour, which can be,
it's still a grain.
Which
can still be inflammatory.
And it's still a carbohydrate.
Exactly.
Right, and it's a strong one, and that's not always the best. And sometimes they can't do the nut flours, right? Almond or coconut flour, and they don't. Again, when it comes to measuring, they don't measure up 1-to-1.
No, you have to figure that out. Like almond flour is a lot more. Where the cassava still has carbs, but they're a resistant carb, so it's slow releasing. It feeds the good gut bacteria. Where rice can still cause gut inflammation.
Okay.
And if people are sensitive to grains, rice flour is going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I know a lot of times, like when my daughter was going gluten-free in the early stages, she was using pasta made from corn and rice, and it wasn't helping.
No, well, corn's a grain, but
Yeah.
corn acts like gluten does in the body. So it does the same thing to the gut that gluten does. Yeah, and that's what's so upsetting. So many gluten-free have corn, and it does the same thing.
Oh, see, these are clinical pearls, folks. See, you're not getting this anywhere else. And the other thing is that you have when you do these substitutes, a lot of times people will try them. They won't taste right. They don't, it's not the same cooking process. And then they dump it and they go right back.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I think organic wheat might be better than a corn substitute, but still it has the gluten.
It has the gluten, and sprouted is better. I think anything is better than corn, to be honest. Corn's just I know it's wonderful.
Polenta?
I know. I like polenta. I haven't had that in so long. Once in a while.
Okay, once in a while.
But it's not
grits.
I love grits. Yeah. Me too. Oh, I haven't had them in a long time. But once in a while.
Okay.
But corn just doesn't offer any nutrient value to our body, unfortunately.
Really?
It was just really fed to fatten up the animals, and but it does taste good. I'm not gonna corn on the cob is delicious.
Yeah. Well, I have to give a plug right here to Pete Bakaris Farm Market. And he gets the seal of approval from Dr. Len Bransowitz, who said it's the only place to ever buy corn. His crop is an original crop that goes back generations.
Wow.
It's non-genetically modified.
Really?
And it's clean.
Say the name
he said it's
again?
the best one. Pete Bakaris. It's Bakaris Farm Market. Beccari apostrophe. Bakaris Farm Market.
That's good to
and
know.
His tomatoes and his peppers, his process of farming is the cleanest around.
Really? I have to go.
Oh yeah.
Where's he located?
Unfortunately, he's not open in the winter.
Right, but as soon as springtime, right?
Springtime. Yeah, he'll be open again next summer, and through fall. And he has his market on it'll come to me in a minute. Schools Run Road.
Oh,
Schools Run Road. In the Heidelberg area.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, wow. I got to check it out. That's good. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We'll have to really talk about that as we
I
get closer
know,
to spring.
because I love corn on the cob in the summer. And of course, we make a Sicilian corn on the cob.
Ooh, what goes in that? I have to know about this.
Okay, so I can't take credit for it. I did borrow this recipe from an Italian chef. But so what you do is you cook, you either grill or boil the corn. If you grill it, just grill it naked. Not you, the corn. Well, it depends. But okay, so then you prepare two dishes, a wet and a dry. Okay. In the wet dish, you put olive oil and balsamic vinegar. Okay. And in the dry dish, you put freshly shaved Parmesan Reggiano or Pecorino Romano if you don't want the dairy. This Pecorino comes from sheep's milk. So you shave the cheese, chop up some fresh mint and some crushed red pepper.
Ooh.
So you mix that all together in the dry dish. So you roll the corn in the wet and then in the dry. Yeah. And
I bet it's
will knock your socks
I would
off.
Eat that corn. I would definitely eat that.
It's always the hit of the meal, no matter what else. We could be making, Delmonico grass-fed steaks, and everybody likes the corn.
We're gonna have a grill in here, and you're gonna make this corn right here. We're gonna do a workshop.
Yeah, you don't have to grill the corn.
Right.
You can cook the corn any way you want.
We're going to do that here because I want to eat some.
Oh, yeah, well, we'll do it.
And sheep cheese is less inflammatory.
Yes. Sorry, can you say the name of the farmer again? Can you spell it?
Bakaris, Beccari. Beccari? Yeah, Bakaris. Bakaris, because it's apostrophe S on the Bakaris Farm Market. So it's Beccari. B with a B. Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. So, I love corn on the cob, but that's why you got to find good corn.
You do. You have to find good corn, but that brings me to another point.
Okay.
What you said about, so a great thing is I love vegetables, but when I say it to some people, they don't like vegetables because the only way they've ever had them were boiled. And there's so many things you can do with vegetables. So
What's the biggest culprit from that? Brussels?
Yep.
Yes.
And how amazing are Brussels sprouts? They're amazing, right?
I know. I got a great recipe for Brussels.
So tell me about your recipe. Of course.
This show is supposed to be about you.
Listen, we're in the mood for food, so it's all
okay. In the mood for food. It's very simple. So what you do is I have them, and sometimes I'll braise them a little bit just to get them soft, depending on how much time I have. If I have a lot of time, I don't even do that. But you have them, you cook them in I use either an avocado oil. Usually an avocado or a grapeseed oil because I'm going to be, sauteing and stir frying them a little bit. but with the oil, shallots,
Oh, I love
yeah,
shallots.
crushed red pepper, and Himalayan pink salt. And I think that's it. It's so simple.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be
And just
anything
something.
shallots.
Shallots give them great flavor.
Mhm.
Sometimes I throw a little pancetta
Ooh.
in there. Yeah. So some pancetta or some bacon. It's not a
Yeah.
vegetarian dish when you do that.
That's okay.
But it's
You
okay
get some
'cause it's
protein and
delicious.
fat.
But you get the flavor sometimes. You get that from the pancetta.
Yeah, it
And
adds
then
so
you add the
much.
shallots, the pepper, salt. Oh,
That would
good.
be
They're
amazing.
great.
Very good.
Yeah.
That would be.
But see, you can do that and eat vegetables and love them.
You can, and that's a thing you can do too. Is bring your vegetables to a party as a side dish. I made a squash pie. I made two different ones. I made one savory, and then I added raw maple syrup and made it sweet, and it was delicious both ways. Super clean. You get some good B vitamins from the maple syrup.
Yeah.
But it's a great dish. But there are other things you can do. Bring olives and a clean cheese from grass-fed cows, or you could do a goat cheese where it's not as inflammatory as cow milk cheese.
Well, tell us about the savory squash pie. Now, what was the ingredients in that?
So I think I gave you the recipe, right? Did you make it? No, it was it's super easy. I buy the cubed butternut squash it's already cubed.
Oh, okay.
I roast it in the oven. Well, when I made it sweet, I did put coconut sugar on it, but when I do it savory, I just put a tablespoon of ghee on it and I roast it. And
ghee is clarified butter for those people.
And the milk solids are removed, so people that don't do well with dairy tend to do really well with ghee. So I roasted it. I took it out. I threw it in the blender with 2 eggs, vanilla, a little bit of nutmeg, cinnamon, and some more ghee. Blended it, and then I put it back in a pie pan and baked it.
Wow.
And it was a side dish. Now, when I did it with savory or sweet, I roasted it with coconut sugar, got real caramelized, and then I put pure maple syrup in the blender, and it was very sweet, but it was good. It was with a cup of coffee.
I think you're going to have that recipe written down. I think people are going to want that.
Yeah, it's
do you have
easy.
It back here?
Actually, I used it during one of the talks.
Okay, we have your recipes back there. Yeah, so we can get. If it's in one of those.
Yeah, it's
okay. It's in the kitchen. Okay.
It's a really good one, and it's filling.
Yeah.
So you just feel, even with the savory, it feels sweet, but it's a really easy recipe. So bringing a side dish.
Now there was no crust, right?
No crust,
Right.
But you could make one.
You could.
Another option is, I love soups, and you could do like a pumpkin soup or a good green soup or escargot. I mean, there's just so many options you can do to keep. So if you pair vegetables with sugar, I mean, not that you would put those two together, but say you have some vegetables and you go and have a cookie, your insulin's not going to spike as fast. You're not going to get that jump in insulin. And that is always a good option. So if you have some really good vegetables that you like, you could do a cauliflower au gratin, with some nutritional yeast and ghee, and that it could be dairy free.
And in place of potatoes are rotten, right?
Yeah.
So cauliflower is a great replacement. I know we've made pizza crusts out of cauliflower.
Cauliflower is so awesome. It's so versatile.
So versatile, right? Yeah, you can make a rice out of it.
Yeah, I use that for everything. Rice cauliflower.
Yeah, it's really good.
You can do so much. So that's an option. Another great option is doing olives are a really good healthy fat. Olives and bringing a shrimp. Different options for some really clean proteins like shrimp or fish.
Make sure the shrimp's wild caught.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Make sure you don't get the farm raised because it's loaded with toxins. So don't do that. But you got to be careful. We talked earlier in the week about labels and reading labels, and Jamie's going to be doing his label presentation tomorrow. But even with things like seafood that's frozen, you've got to read the label.
You have to know where it's coming from.
You got to know where it's coming from.
Because those toxins will store in your cells in the body, and it'll build up over time if they're not removed. And that's a really big thing that I like to do with clients that are very toxic is, maybe they come in, say, I know weight loss is the topic, so we'll just use that. So say somebody comes in for weight loss but their body is very toxic. We need to do a protocol, right? We have to detox the body, and as the person detoxifies, the weight loss will come off because weight is a side effect of something else going on.
Right. And the toxins that occupy these cells, fat cells that are loaded with toxins, cannot be burned as energy.
Right. You're right.
So, and that's going to inhibit weight loss and sometimes sabotage it altogether.
Yeah.
Right?
And two, what else happens is, so when you start losing body fat, toxins will start circulating in the bloodstream. And if those aren't removed, you're going to get sick. Your immune system's going to take a hit. You're not going to feel as well.
Yeah.
But you're right. You don't burn.
You don't burn. No, fat. And, you can only burn energy, from muscle tissue or fat tissue, right? From stored energy, not what you ingest. I mean, you ingest, carbohydrates, you can convert that to energy.
Right.
You ingest fat, you can convert that to energy. But when you're looking at stored energy or stored sources of energy, it's either fat cells or muscle cells.
Right.
Right. And if you can't burn the fat cells because they're loaded with toxins, what are you going to burn?
You're going to
burn
your muscle.
And that's going to have a detrimental effect.
And yes, and that's a really, really good point, because what happens when people go on conventional diets is they cut calories. So you have muscle and fat. Well, if you don't take in enough protein or adequate amount of protein to maintain your muscle mass, you're going to deplete muscle, and you're going to actually increase body fat. Yes, the scale will look like it's going down, but ultimately body fat has increased, and you've defeated the purpose. So then when you go back to eating normal, it seems like you gain it twice as fast. It's because you depleted your calorie burner, which is your muscle mass. So it's really important. That's why the nutrient timing, why I feed a metabolism, so every so many hours, because I have to stimulate that so we don't slow the body down, slow the thyroid down. It's really important.
Wow, good tips. And that takes us, that's only part of what you do in your sessions with your clients, right?
Yes.
And your patients. So another big part of that, and it helps to, fill in all the pieces of the puzzle, is the Zyto.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So
let's talk about the Zyto.
So the Zyto Balance, it's great. It looks at all the body core systems. So and we look for patterns. You might see something that looks a little crazy in the one category, but you have to look at everything as a whole picture. And it's just great to see, because you can even tell if there's some food sensitivities going on based off of what they just ate, because, I'm looking at the respiratory system, the lymph nodes. I mean, it shows all of that. It shows gastrointestinal system. I love the Zyto. It looks at emotional stressors. So it's funny. Sometimes.
So it's a non-invasive biorhythmic response device, right?
It's a galvanic skin response. So it measures
galvanic skin, right?
It's very similar to a lie detector test.
Yes, that's what we call it, the lie detector test for your whole body.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what's great about it is, when people do health assessments, they answer questions, right? They can lie.
Yeah. And it's subjective, because you might be feeling better that day.
You can't lie to the Zyto, can you?
Well, you know what's funny? Somebody will come in and I'll look and I can see the pancreas and I'm like, wow, you're really hungry right now. They're like, I don't feel hungry. I'm like, your body's starving. You need to eat. When's the last time you ate? They're like, 4 hours ago. Yeah, it's great, because that shows you, though, how, and I know that's a very simple illustration, but it shows you how out of tune we can be with ourselves.
Oh, that's a great point, because they may think they're not hungry, but their body's actually starving.
Yes.
Yeah. And then how many times do we hear about people that are, they're starving for nutrition, not necessarily the amount of food or bulk or calories. We don't but the thing is, you can be nutrient starved and still be overweight.
Oh, yeah. Most overweight are malnourished. Absolutely.
Malnourished.
Because what happens is 1 out of 2 people have what's called leaky gut. It's
1 out of 2.
1 out of 2.
Wow.
And it's basically, so even when they're taking in healthy food or they're taking in supplements, their body's not absorbing it. Partially undigested food, toxins are seeping through that gut, that intestinal barrier, and circulating in the bloodstream and causing inflammation, chronic pain, headaches, migraines. I mean, respiratory issues. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. Sorry, Phil. And but causing.
But hey, Phil, you got 2 Italians up here. We're talking. It's a good thing we don't talk at the same time, because we'd be knocking each other off the chair.
Yeah, good thing our glasses are like a good distance away. Our cups. But so it's good to see what's going on in the body. So, and that's one of the main things, right? Instantly, I always look at the gut, right? What's because all illness, all disease begins in the gut. I know if you hear me talk, I say that all the time. I sound like a broken record, but it's
But
true.
it's so true.
And in, symptoms can start way back. I deal with younger, teenagers, younger kids, and they are getting symptoms. And some early signs are constipation, stomach pain, bloating, diarrhea, loose stool. Those are things that usually start very young. And by the time they get older, they're really dealing with some serious symptoms, but you can fix it.
Yeah. Okay. So these things compound as they get older, and then all of these other health conditions start to materialize. But you say you can fix it. Can you fix it at any stage along the way?
You can. Usually, I mean, obviously the end stage of disease is
Right.
cancer, right?
Right.
When it becomes necrotic and
Yeah.
tumors, but you can. And so one thing, just saying I've been like this my whole life doesn't mean it's normal. It just means that's how you felt for so long. But we can fix that, and really getting in and doing a discovery session, right? Just really seeing what's going on, what the diet's looking at stress factors, because
You bring in the emotional component when you
Absolutely.
have your in your sessions, right?
Yeah,
Right.
because nothing's independent. Like
Right.
the way we feel, the way we perceive things, of how it affects us drastically affects our gut health and overall our whole body's health.
Yeah, it's so important. The emotional connection, I think, is probably the one that most people don't figure it. They don't think that figures into their physical health.
Yeah,
Right.
they don't. They think it's independent. I mean,
Yeah.
think about this, right? If you're under a lot of stress, you could be so exhausted, you go to lay down at night and you can't sleep.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Sleep is such an important factor
Oh,
in
yeah.
health.
Yeah.
And if you can't sleep and your mind's racing, and what happens when we sleep? We regulate specific
Yes.
hormones, specifically leptin and ghrelin. That's our hunger and satiating hormones. So do you ever notice when you don't sleep, you want to eat more the next day?
Sure. There's a guy that wrote a book, Dr. Matthew Walker, The New Science of Sleep. And he calls sleep our body's life support system. I mean, think about that. It really is.
That's like a great description.
Yeah, it's our life support.
That's when our body can rest and rejuvenate and detox. Repair.
And build. All of those things happen when you sleep, but you got to get into a good REM sleep.
You do.
Right?
And that's the thing. The Zyto looks at sleep.
Oh, okay.
So there's I've had clients, I think I sleep well, but they don't. I'm like, are you eating before bed? They're like, yeah. And I could see it because I could see the liver, I can look at different
you
things.
can't lie to the Zyto.
No, you can't. It is kind of amazing.
You can be in denial, but you can't lie.
Exactly. Because
Okay.
we can see it.
Yeah.
It's a great tool. I mean, to really help people fine tune and get specific on certain things that can be causing issues.
Okay, great. Did you have a Zyto? You did. Okay, good.
Do you find it interesting? Yeah.
Would you like to give a testimonial? Okay.
But the Zyto, it's just a great tool to look at what's going on in the body and see. And I love using that and just kind of looking at what's going on.
Yeah.
And some other things. So obviously so let's do a recap, right? Bringing healthier foods to the parties or having healthier options, right? Vegetables. And a lot of times I will, I'll make, like a flourless brownie. It's made with arrowroot powder. I will do it sometimes with coconut sugar when I'm bringing it for other people. But it's made with raw cacao, which is a superfood, really healthy. And people all love it. They have the regular cookies, but they love the brownies. So it's definitely a hit.
Okay.
So bringing things like that, and I'll always usually bring a vegetable and maybe something else. But
okay, hold on right there. A vegetable. Usually, when you see a vegetable tray, there's a dip.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will sabotage their clean vegetables with one of these commercial dips it's loaded with soybean oil or canola oil or all sugars, all these things, right? So what do you do instead?
Okay, so there's some options. Like there's some really good brands of hummus. I love hummus. I know it's chickpeas, it can be inflammatory, but if you're okay with hummus, that's a great option. Another, I'm a really big fan of paleo. I think, the paleo is an easier protocol to follow. It's an easy therapeutic diet. And a lot of the recipes are anti-inflammatory, gut healing. So you can make your own spinach artichoke dip and you could do it with a nut milk and instead of dairy, you can do it with soak your cashews and blend them, and cashews get really creamy and take on like a cheese-like flavor. Actually made a raw cheesecake with cashews.
Ooh.
It was good. It was really good.
How come we didn't get any of that?
That was a long time ago. It was ambitious.
Yeah, that was code for make it again.
Yeah, I did. And
Okay.
I will one of these days. I just don't want to have the cashews in the house because I will eat. I love cashews.
Oh, me
They're
too.
so good.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I'm like, okay, one more. But
We have a question. Okay.
Which would be best for nourishing gut health? Fasting in the morning with coffee or a shake/food?
Okay, so that's a really great question. So everybody's a little bit different, right? I think the intermittent fasting serves a purpose for a time being, right? It depends what's going on in that person's life. So one thing I do it's customized nutrition. No two protocols look the same. Everybody's different. So depending what you have going on, and what time you ate the night before. So it's kind
That's
of
big.
and that's kind of a tough question to give you just a straight answer. So if you ate late the night before, maybe you want to give your gut a rest and you don't want to have breakfast, but you could do something like having the GI Complete in the morning to just start nourishing and healing and repairing the
Great.
gut.
Yeah,
And
great.
then
That's a great idea. And I think you can actually combine the two options, Phil. If you do some intermittent fasting, 12 to 14 hours is probably a good amount.
Well, actually,
know?
they say the 14-hour and 18-hour, you don't
Yeah,
see much
You
difference
don't
in the
see
benefit.
much difference. So you don't need to go as long as 18. But why not just have that great shake as your first meal after the intermittent fasting?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. You combine the two together.
And if you sleep and you've hit the 14-hour mark from the time you've had dinner to the time you wake up, then you could wake up and have the shake. And sometimes maybe too the day before you were more active and you burned off a lot of energy and you didn't eat as much, so you wake up and you're really hungry. Well, eat. Yeah.
So, look, people eat too late, right, at night. They don't eat. You should get 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. But let's say you had your last meal between 6 and 7 o'clock and you didn't eat. You were, didn't do any snacking, late night snacking. Well, then by, 8, 9 o'clock the next day, that's your 14 hours.
Exactly.
Have your first meal.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
It's all about the timing.
It is all about the timing. And and if you're doing like a cleanse or a detox, I love the Power Cleanse. I use it. That's a great. So you could start your morning off with that.
Sure.
So you start the body cleansing and detoxing. That's an option. Or, I was just sharing too, is I love the peanut butter protein powder and the super shake, and I'll throw it in my coffee and blend it and make it real creamy.
Peanut butter coffee.
Yeah, because I love those two together. But I'm a little weird. But
so we all have our own. Like I use the cafe mocha.
That would be good. I'm gonna try that one.
Yeah, that works. And I've done. I know whoever asked this question was probably referring to Bulletproof coffee. Because that's part of a lot of intermittent fasting programs.
I actually have the Bulletproof just black coffee in here, and
just black.
But
is there anything? There's nothing else in it. No fat.
No. So in the mornings, I do a teaspoon of brain octane oil.
Okay.
Of a good fat, and if I'm out of the brain octane oil, do a teaspoon of ghee.
You can do ghee. You can use coconut oil.
You can,
right? You can use any really good fat and put it in your coffee, and that will not interrupt or interfere with the program.
Right, because it's not going to spike insulin.
Right.
So, it's the Bulletproof I love some of the aspects of Bulletproof, and I used to go to all their conventions out in California, and it was great. I mean, there was always speakers and learning different things. But I do like their coffee. It's a very clean brand of coffee. But adding some good fat in there is really crucial. Our brain is 80% cholesterol. It's good fat. You need that, and fat's the building block for all your hormones. But you have to watch too. If you are on a weight loss protocol, you don't want to have so much fat that you start storing it and not burning. So it's really, and you
see, that's why you need a guide on this program. You need Dr. Ashley Rozzi. You need a guide that can lay all this out for you. And you do in black and white. You use the Zyto. There's a printout with the Zyto, right?
Well, they get emailed it.
Okay, so you get the Zyto results, but then you also give them a plan and a protocol.
I do. Yeah.
That's what happens.
And it's something that works for your body. It's not something that is like, okay, I'm never
It's
going
not
to
a
do
one
this.
size fits all.
Right. Because
No.
we're not. Our gut is unique to you. It's like your fingerprint. So no two guts are the same. We're all different. And so really finding the nutrition that works for your body
Right.
and something that's doable. And sometimes it is taking it piece by piece. It's not making every adjustment all at once. Maybe it's making small adjustments like increasing water, adding more protein, decreasing some of the inflammatory foods. So everybody's on a different, everybody's somewhere different in their journey. So
Yes.
it's meeting that person where they're at and creating a protocol that works.
And for that, you need an expert, and that's Ashley Rozzi. So give us a call, make an appointment down here with Dr. Rozzi. Not 412-922-9355. I know the number will magically go up on the screen here any second. There you
Right.
go. Well, yeah, see?
It's amazing.
Yeah, our amazing director over here. We have questions that we need to address, Phil?
No, we went through them all.
Okay.
She did order that bulletproof coffee.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All
It's
right,
good coffee.
We have a lot of comments, it looks like, up there. A lot of people listening in, so that's great. Good.
Are you doing free Zytos tomorrow?
I am. So yeah, 10 because we do our for a couple hours, then Holly and I bake the cookies. So yeah, if you're free, come back for that.
Oh, you heard it.
And-
Free Zytos
and who's
tomorrow,
ever in the
folks,
audience,
Saturday.
you get the first dibs on the cookies.
Yes, if you're in the audience, because they're going to do it live.
Yeah.
You got to be here. You got to be here.
And I have to say, Holly's an incredible baker.
She is.
So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
really a joy to get to try her treats, and they're healthy.
Yeah.
She usually adds a protein powder in, and it's amazing.
I've never been a big sweet guy. I don't have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
I don't crave sweets. I can go forever with, but
Her cookies. I know.
Holly,
I'm not a
oh.
sweet. I don't have a sweet tooth either. Yeah. I'm like, ooh, yesterday because she
But they
brought
healthy.
some
They're
in.
okay. They're good.
She made these amazing thumbprints, and,
Oh,
but all healthy.
God.
And they're so if you're in the area, stop down tomorrow at noon, and we'll be doing
Yeah. Oh, good. Looking forward to that. So
Yeah.
thank you. Any parting shots?
Well, if you are looking to get on a good nutrition program, whatever that means, if it's weight loss, if it's mental clarity, if it's overall health, anything, and you're ready to start in January, go ahead, call, get on the schedule, and we can begin the journey.
Yeah. Don't wait. The journey starts now, right?
It does. It really does. Yeah.
Good. Phil?
Wait, can I put a link to your recipes in the chat later?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I just like, how do we do that?
I can do it. I just didn't know if you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. For
All right.
sure. So there'll be
Sounds
some
good.
holiday recipes on there.
Oh, excellent. Good.
Yeah.
Tune in. You'll have them. You got to come back and watch this again. There was a lot of information.
Yeah.
So come back. Of course, this is all going to be on our website. On our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. So they'll be there forever. Come on back. If you missed any part of this or if you didn't take any notes, come on back.
Yeah.
Watch it again. That's the beauty of it.
And tomorrow,
Restream.
I know we said free Zytos. Tomorrow's free mini Zytos
Mini
because we only
Zytos.
have about 10,
Yeah,
15
no, it's not a
minutes.
full hour appointment.
Right.
It's 10 to 15 minutes. So you do get the emailed copy of it, right?
No,
No, you
those
don't.
don't.
You got to pay for that. Yeah.
That's a whole different because the printout would be too hard for.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. But you get to experience what the Zyto does.
You do,
and then hopefully you'll come back and schedule a full
and get to
blown
see.
appointment. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, that's it. Coming up at 10, we've got the icon, Dr. James Weiner himself.
Oh wow.
We're bringing back Dr. Weiner, and he's going to do a great presentation on brain health at 10 o'clock. And then in the second half of the hour, Dr. Orbach's going to come in and do a little bit more with us. So you're going to get a twofer in the 10 o'clock hour. Dr. Weiner, James Weiner, and Dr. Gideon Orbach coming up at 10 o'clock. And then at 11, Caroline Golmick, Kids Health, huge, right?
Oh yeah.
And then at 12, we have our round table, and we'll probably bring you back in for that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you, Ashley.
Well, thanks for
Phil.
having me.
We'll see you guys.
All right, we'll
in-
see you
in a few
soon.
minutes.